Nicely done. Hello and welcome to the Friday review of games. I'm Ian D. Lewis.
I'm Dan Galpin, and it is Friday, April 20th, 2012, and it's very exciting to be here. We've got a great selection of games, but as always, we're starting off with our selection of brew. So
with us, as always, is Big Pete.
Big Pete, once again, who's returned to us the purchase. And so over here, we were showing off the amazing. I don't know, what do we finally decide?
Kegdroid.
It is Kegdroid. So we showed off Kegdroid, and Kegdroid was pouring actually Paul's own homebrew, which is very exciting, which is delicious. And but for us, the actual beer of the week for this April 20th is Humboldt Brown Hemp Ale. So please open. And we've got a great selection of games, as I mentioned earlier, for us to look at. With us later on, we're going to bring in our senior India correspondent to help work on one of the games. So this is very exciting for us. It's the first time we've had a guest on the program here on the Friday Review, at least a guest Googler. Mm-hmm. So cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. All right, so let's start off with a game that just rings a lot of bells for me. It brings back some happy and unhappy memories. 2XL MX Off-Road, which is the spitting image of the first game that I ever did for the PS2, which was Jeremy McGrath's Supercross. It sucks for many reasons. But the okay, we're gonna skip this, right?
Turn off the sound. Right, we're looking good. All right, so
it's a. First off, I mean, it's a beautiful game, beautiful experience to begin with.
Yeah,
really nice animation. This screen was actually a little confusing to me, but
yeah, it's like,
but it worked out.
I think partially because I had a tablet and I was looking at a phone. I'm like, am I simulating my phone on my tablet? I was trying to figure out what was going on, but now I understand.
Right. Now, I want to mention while this is loading that this isn't the first loading screen we've seen. It does actually download a tremendous amount of resources to begin with, and they don't download in the background.
Yes.
So Dan actually wrote this amazing library for background downloads that you should really check out. So it'll let you do all that resource loading without having to keep the title screen of your game up all the time. You know, 'cause I like to, you know, I'm downloading a game. I have other things I'd like to do. I want to check my mail or talk to somebody online, and that's not possible with this game.
Yeah, and basically what it does is it runs a kind of a download manager-like service in the background, and it puts up a notification in the notification area that allows people to see the progress, and it also does some feedback to your application so that your application can report progress, and it tries to calculate approximate download time and a few other things. It was done as part of the APK expansion file project, and it's mostly designed for downloading that, but it's actually very easy to appropriate it to download whatever you would like. And the audio is a bit hot. Good to know. We'll keep it a little quiet. All right.
Well, I don't know why it's our problem. We just have loud voices.
We do have loud voices.
Trevor back there on the mixer is going to take care of that hot audio for you, pal.
Yeah, I think. How about now? All right. So.
Okay. Let's ignore what Trevor and Rayto are talking about. By the way, this show, the engineer is Trevor Johns. Producer is the incomparable Rayto Meyer,
Exactly.
Father of Android Development.
What?
The book.
Yes. Okay, that's better.
Okay, let's take a look at this gameplay. I think it's really impressive. I mean, it's.
I love the arcade feel of this game.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I'm usually one who wants my simulations to play like to be just wicked fun, and this game is fun. Whether you're crashing into trees or doing jumps, I kind of wanted to be able to prep for jumps, and maybe I just never quite figured out the controls well enough. But it's still just kind of stupid fun. The frame rate is spectacular. You really can't see that over the Hangout, but this game runs buttery smooth on our Transformer Primes, which is always great to see. You know, I'd like to have a little more texel density in it, but you know, honestly, it's really nice. It's you know, it's going to look.
In fact, that's the only the only complaint that I have is the texel density on the track is really blurry, like detail texture or something like that. Even in a vacuum, I would make that
Yeah.
complaint. But especially since the textile density on the biker is
It's
actually
so
pretty
great.
high.
Yeah.
But yeah, the smoothness just can't be beat. It's really amazing. The control is actually controllable, which
Yeah.
surprises me. I hate accelerometer games. I suck at them. But
Yeah. No, I'm not. I totally get with you, and the accelerometer is really precise, really responsive. I was really pleased. So some things to note about this game. This game has all of the classic problems that you see in Android titles. It plays music on the lock screen. It does not handle the back button correctly. So all those things that have to be looked at before the editorial board here would even consider looking at it and as a feature. On the other hand, the game is so beautiful and so well done. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. So
Yeah.
those are just things to consider. Even with games that are really, really polished like this, not having those things really makes it a non-Android experience, and it's kind of sad, because I would love to see this up there. So with a few minor changes, I think it's ready.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see the background downloads. I'd love to see and I'd love to see the back key and the sound fixes.
Yeah, and get rid of those menu buttons of shame.
Yes, the menu buttons of shame.
Now, that brings up an interesting point,
Mhm.
because we had a comment earlier on our Google Plus page asking about the buttons of shame and saying, is it possible to turn them on for just one activity instead of keeping them on for the entire application?
Mm-hmm. And the answer with that is no, as far as
I didn't know of a way to do it either.
Yeah,
Now, the point was, he was sort of in the same boat, the questioner was in the same boat as the RoboSockets guys,
mm-hmm.
Where they had a piece of middleware that needs a menu button.
Yeah, and our general response is, if you're writing middleware, don't make it so your guys can't get featured. Update your middleware, especially if it's something that's trying to monetize. I mean, it's just like. So my general feeling is we should make sure that anyone who's doing middleware in Android actually allows someone to make good Android quality stuff. So
yeah, and so we actually talked to the featuring team about this,
mm-hmm.
And the response was, yeah, we will ding you for using middleware that violates our design guidelines, because otherwise, how would it ever change?
Yeah, then you'd be like, oh, well, you're using that middleware, so you don't quite have to look like everything else, and that's not fair. I mean,
no, it wouldn't be cool.
I think the whole point of middleware, hopefully, is that it makes your life easier. It doesn't make it harder. So that's at least the goal.
But we're more than happy to engage with these guys. We keep up regular relations with a lot of middleware companies.
Mm-hmm.
If your middleware is causing your game problems, so that you're not getting featured on Android Market, I'm sorry, Google Play. Take a drink.
Exactly. Every time you say Android Market, you have to take a drink, but I think it should be Big P.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It's the Android Market drinking game, presented to you on the games review session on Friday.
Bingo!
All right.
In any case, so we are talking to the middleware. We actually spent several hours on the phone with middleware company in Beijing last week. They're going to go ahead and fix their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, the middleware actually has a fix in the works. They just haven't updated,
mm-hmm.
so they definitely need to make sure that you update and that you keep current with whatever your middleware is. A lot of times they will fix problems.
So I'll say one more thing about 2XL MX Off-Road, just to get my final point. Let's take one more look at the screen here of the, and then go back to if you go back to look at their icon, actually. This is kind of an interesting one.
Their launcher
their
icon?
launcher icon.
Okay.
So this is something that you see a lot, and their launcher icon has what I call the round rectangle of shame. And for some reason, if you go and look at all the stock icons on Android, none of them, with the exception of Google Plus, which really shouldn't be that way, is actually a round rectangle. All of them are uniquely shaped icons. And here you have this really, really cool looking bicycle in the icon. I think that's what it is, although it's hard for me to see from here.
Well, I think they call that a motorcycle.
It's a motorcycle, yeah, bicycle, sorry, motorcycle, an MX bike. And And it's got this weird rectangle around it, and it'd be so much cooler if it didn't. Like it should just be like this cool biker against whatever background you have. You know, if you look at, if you compare it to the only icon here actually of all of these that's really, really perfect for Android is actually the last one here. That's what an Android icon should look like. It should not be a rounded rectangle unless there's a really good reason for it being a rounded rectangle.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned the G Plus icon, and that is actually that's the icon they use on the web,
Yeah.
et cetera. It's but look at Chain Reaction, look at Neil Raja. Both of those just have an icon that they placed a rounded rectangle background behind.
Yeah.
For no I think we know what the reason is.
Yes.
But hey, man, don't rub it in our faces,
Dude. So
Okay.
yeah, so that was just one more comment I want to make. Since we were there and we were being nitpicky, like this game is so awesome. And make it feel just more like an Android experience by giving it an icon that actually kind of works with our icon guidelines. Like,
Yeah,
and all that
just
stuff
bump
makes
those
it makes
textures up.
marketing people happy. You know,
And that's really the important thing, right? Because I think we've talked about.
well, making
this
us
before.
happy, you know, doesn't really help that much. Making marketing people happy, you know, that's what gets you to the top of the list. So you know.
Yeah. So yeah, because it goes from editorial, which is all gamers, to QA, which is testers from the game industry that know how to break things like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And then it goes to merchandising,
Yeah.
and all they look at is how pretty is your graphic?
Yeah.
What does your icon look like?
Yeah, exactly. All this stuff. So it's funny because you can have the best game in the world, but if your feature graphic is terrible and the team decides to feature it, then you end up with like really low placement or some like slot way down in the basement of market where no one sees it. So oops, Google Play. There we are. I think I clearly had too much of that beforehand. I do really like. By the way, Paul's brew is excellent.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. I want a little bit more malt personally, but
this is nice though.
yeah, this hemp beer.
Yeah, not
Can't
bad.
really taste the hemp, but I don't know what.
I don't know what hemp
expecting,
tastes
really.
like. So, but
No.
it's got a little bit of hop in it. So.
I know what I expected it to taste like, but it's not that.
So we do have a developer who's joined us online as well. So we'll have to get to I don't know which game.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's the game that's up right now.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're about to look at Chain Reaction, and we have got Pedro joining us online.
Hey,
So
Pedro.
Pedro, where are you at? Where are you coming from? I think you're muted.
The land of mute. Hold on. We may be able to fix this.
It worked fine in the last session.
I know. I
think Pedro's muted.
No, maybe not. Can you hear him, Trevor?
It only comes on the computer.
No, do you see like little volume bars on the bottom? Try talking again, man. No, dude, your microphone's screwed.
Yeah, we're not getting audio levels on there.
Oh man, and I was so hoping.
Bummer.
I can pull up chat.
we get. If only we knew some like common sign language.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
that.
Okay, Pedro. If you can go in like the chat window maybe, and
you can respond that way. You can go
Yeah.
to the group chat window. You can type stuff to us and you can wave. We're going. Oh wait.
Whoa.
Oh, we heard you.
Hey. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hey, I had to switch the devices. Yeah.
I understand. Well, welcome. So your game made me
Thanks.
laugh. Let me just say that, which is really cool. And Ian has more to say. I know.
Yeah, this game's hilarious. So where are you coming from? Pedro?
I'm from Portugal, in the Porto in Portugal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
Awesome.
my favorite Portuguese city.
Yeah. we certainly like our Portos here, so that's great.
Okay, so the gameplay is a little bit reminiscent of Defender, or just one of these. Wow. You know what? Can I restart this level? Because
you're about to get
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, and actually, this is one
You're
of the
dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's
not
not
how it
I
happens.
love that.
Yeah. So one of the things I really loved about this game was, first of all, your intro.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, but let's step back for just a second.
Oh,
Although, check out my score.
I know. 420. Yeah, that
It
really
is.
works well for today. You know, I think that's worth another drink of the Humboldt Brown right there.
So this thing walks the line, all right? If you take a look at what the message box we have on the screen right now, Trevor, would you mind bringing that up? Okay, so it says, rate chain reaction and get 800 coins bonus. If that said rate chain reaction 5 stars and get an 800 credit bonus, your account would be banned, most likely. This is just like walking the line. It's a little on the shady side, but it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought a lot about including that dialogue, but I thought, well, since I'm actually asking for the gamer to quit my game to go raid, then I might as well give him a reason to come back. But yeah, I wasn't really sure about doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's definitely borderline, and it's not it's not clear if the long-term worded that's something that we're even going to allow. But definitely, at least you're not saying, give us 5 stars, which is actually worse. So
Right.
you're saying I believe my game is awesome that you're going to give it 5 stars anyways, and I'm going to give you 800 coins just for that.
Okay, so let's go to the game. This is a really fun game, and I mean it's mostly about moving your guy and shooting the right zombie, and then getting your power-ups so you can do better in the future. I'm assuming that in the future my aim won't suck as bad as it does right now. So the only thing...
It depends how much Humboldt Brown you have.
Yeah, in the future.
In the future.
Oh, man. This is a level of fast zombies. Okay, so here's the thing. I think that moving my guy is a big part of the gameplay here. I think that's part of the expertise. Like, I can actually shoot from anywhere. I don't actually understand what that is, but oh, damn. All right, well, let me try and explain this while I'm not trying to play. So I can shoot from anywhere, which I think is really cool. But you only get a good beat on the zombie if you're shooting from an advantageous point on the board, right? So you want to move your guy up and down so that he can get a good shot. The UI for moving the guy up and down is really tough because you actually have to touch on one side or the other of the guy. So my main suggestion to just make this game 10 times more enjoyable for old losers like me is make that thing a slider.
The game working in a certain way.
Exactly. Like I really want to just move my thumb up and down and have the guy follow me.
I realized that the movement scheme might be a problem while I was making the trailer for the game. That was the first time I actually played the game on a tablet.
On
yeah.
phone you probably wouldn't even notice.
Right, because the thumb motion is so much less. That's a really good point.
Yeah, we hadn't actually considered that. Of course, we're playing it on our tablets because we're like, we leave here with our...
Well, and that is something that, to be aware of is that, obviously, and just as an aside, when the Android team decides to feature an app on Google Play, they do it for a number of reasons. But remember, the ultimate goal is to benefit the Android team, is to benefit the ecosystem as a whole. And one of the things we really want to make sure of is that people who have spent money on Android tablets get a really good experience. So, so the game review board that we've talked about before, a number of volunteers play a lot of video games. Most of them have some experience in the video game industry. And we actually just issued them Galaxy 10s or Asus Transformer Primes to test the games.
Yeah, you think Shane is a lucky bastard.
Yeah, exactly. So these people are testing on some high-end hardware. We want to make sure the game shows up as good as it can. We're not saying, nobody's saying, oh, it doesn't run on my Droid Incredible, so, that sucks or whatever. But it does mean that you need to pay some attention to how your game looks on a tablet. Now, fortunately, we now have a tablet emulator that can actually run GL and can give you a little bit more experience with that.
even if you don't own a tablet.
Right, but
And-
that's not going to help you with this problem.
Yeah, and actually the one thing to note about it is you can always get the density, the pixel density, as well as the screen size, and that can help you calibrate controls too. So it's just kind of it's definitely useful to see that when you're on those bigger screen sizes, what kind of controls you have. Yeah, my aim really does suck.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, it does.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a very difficult
hard.
game. Now I haven't upgraded at all.
Oh, you need to upgrade.
Yeah. Now what's a hammer thing? Can I actually hammer my? Oh, I see. There we go.
The other thing
That's really cool.
I'm seeing all this kind of stuff. Are you seeing that? That's just me.
What kind of stuff? Oh, you're seeing some really interesting graphical glitches.
Yeah, I know.
No, I
That's
wasn't
weird.
able to get that working. Do you have like a,
Oh,
a
you know
weird
what it
build
is?
or something?
I have this turned on. I wonder if that's affecting it.
Oh, okay.
I wonder
Yeah.
I
it's
bet that's what's
So-
going on.
right. For those of you watching at home that don't
Actually see my
what Dan is doing, so he's got the development feature turned on where you can actually show touches, which I should probably have turned on, and it's just causing some graphical glitches. It usually doesn't, but in this case it does. That's not surprising. It's not the game's fault at all. So anyway, yeah, we like this game. We think your upgrade and monetization strategy looks pretty cool. It's just the controls are just a little bit too difficult for us to really get into it.
I like it. I think it's always. I definitely think that on a tablet, I'd love to see the controls get tweaked. But I suspect on a phone it's probably great. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worthwhile. I would love to just be able to control where his position is though with my thumb. I think that or have it almost go exactly there. That would be that would be fun, especially since it's a relatively small part of the game in terms of the difficulty of the game. I think. So
Yeah, I'll definitely add a secondary control scheme
That would be awesome.
once I get a
Really love
tablet for myself for testing.
And then
Yay.
just so you've got that's awesome. We've got some guns. Let's see. We've got ways to so rate share is 1,000 coins.
you can always tell if I'm
More
actually
free coins. And what about the coins that I can pay for, Pedro? Where are those?
they're there.
They should be on the left.
They're on mine. Are they not on yours? Do you not have billing or something? Or
No, I've got billing.
If the billing service isn't bound, then I think it doesn't show the.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I wonder if my, sometimes my account just gets weird, and I think this
yeah,
is actually under-
mine are actually there. So it's definitely working on mine. So
Okay,
Feel
cool.
free to buy some stuff.
yeah.
I know. Actually, it's funny because in the last review, Reto and Fred were going to buy something, and then they're like, "Oh no, I don't know whose credit card that is."
Oh,
So I'm just going to say this right now: games people, we don't care. We got money to burn.
let's see.
We'll buy your stuff.
Yeah, let's see. 70,000 coins. Oh, whoa, that didn't work at all. Wait, hold on. Out of curiosity, I'm seeing this is so I tried to buy something and that was a massive failure. Let me try with this one more time.
Okay, let's see what happens. Should we plug into yours? Because I don't. Why don't we plug this into yours?
Plug it into mine.
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to be able to buy anything. That's what's going to happen. So you're going to plug it in and then it's
Well, let's see what goes on.
yeah, no. Oops.
Okay.
Not all right. So what happens if I okay, not now. All right. So let's see. I'm going to buy 70,000 coins here on. There we are. Now it worked. So the only thing that my
Trevor can switch to his.
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
look.
So accept and buy. So this is just proving that we're not super cheap here on the Friday review.
Wait, how much did that cost?
$5.
Idiot.
But you see, it actually left me here in the market. So my suspicion is that a couple of things happen. This actually often happens if you call into billing service from something that's not the UI thread. Actually, you end up in this state where you get things stacked in. So I'm curious. Are you making the call to billing from a non-UI thread? Do you think potentially?
I'm not really sure. I'll have to check.
If you do it from a non-UI thread, it doesn't know how to get back, and you end up getting stuck in market like this is right now.
Okay.
So that's what I think is happening. But since I saw that happen, that's why I wanted to do that and actually go and make a purchase, kind of to show what the experience is. Which is really sad because
Is this a C++ game or Java game?
It's C++.
But
Well, I made it in Eclipse.
Okay.
So does that mean it's a Java game? Yeah.
Well,
probably.
did you write it using the Java language?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay.
I was thinking
That's-
about the
that's-
game engine.
What's
I
that?
was thinking about the game engine, but I think the game engine is also in Java. Yeah.
Okay.
oh, you're using like End Engine or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, End Engine, cool. Okay, awesome, sweet.
And did you write the billing stuff yourself, or is it the engine that's doing it?
No, that's another. That's a code from another guy from the End Engine forums.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. It looks like it might be calling into billing service from the game thread rather than from the UI thread. That would be my theory. I'll be curious to see why that's going on, because that should not be happening. Oh no,
Okay.
I'm gonna die.
So, really, there was only one major thing that bummed me out about Shane Runner, and that's that once...
Chain reaction.
Oh, Chain Reaction, sorry.
Come on.
Where did I even get that?
No.
And that's that once that game starts playing, that sound never stops. So here I am.
Oh yeah.
Here I am just playing my home screen.
Mm-hmm.
I got zombie noises in the
It
background.
allows you to have epic web browsing experiences, though. You can.
That's true. That's true. But
yeah.
that might be something. I literally had to reboot my tablet to get it to shut up.
I stopped the process, but.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess I could have done that.
But
Smart boy.
Yeah, maybe that's something specific to the tablet. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think so, but we should check it out.
It's unlikely. Yeah.
But anyways, that's something that you definitely try to make sure. Try hitting the home screen and seeing if you can reproduce that.
Well, and this is pretty common, I think. I know for me when I'm developing, I'm working on my game. That's what I do, right? And the problem is that on mobile devices more than anything else, your game coexists in an ecosystem with a lot of other processes, none of which behave correctly. So you need to have
some of them behave correctly. What are you talking about?
But you need to.
It's all chaos. None of the processes actually.
You can't depend on anyone. Okay.
All right, that I agree with.
All right.
Let's put this here. There we are. Oh, well, you're done. Dude, that was fast.
Well, I'm not.
We should pour
I'm not double fisting like you are. So anyway, the point is that you need to program defensively. You need to think a little bit about not only what other processes may be beyond the system, but what other activities your user wants to engage in. You know, you're going to be interrupted by phone calls. You're going to be interrupted by, having to lock the screen because, the guy's bus came or whatever. It's very, very different from a non-mobile application. And so you do need to be kind of defensive and think about all the interruptions and crazy stuff that can happen to you.
But congratulations, the game is really fun, and it's always good to see End Engine getting some good use out there. I love a lot of what they've done. So if you guys haven't had a chance to play with it, it's a really nice OpenGL accelerated sprite engine that also includes some nice plugins for physics, and so definitely check that out. They've done some great work.
Yeah, and Pedro, so if you can fix the audio problem, just give us an email and we'll put your game into the editorial queue. Okay,
great.
Try to find, and also try to check out if you can see what's going on with the purchasing, and see if you can keep that flow from doing what it was doing on my device. That's really important.
I haven't really understood how I can test the purchases, because I always get this version isn't compatible with purchases.
Oh, well, so you have to make sure that the version that's on market is actually the same signed version that you're testing. So you actually have to sign in and test it in order to make that work. And then I would use those test SKUs initially just to make sure the flows are working right, rather than trying to refund yourself, which just gets really messy. So put one of the test SKUs up in a test version that you sign with the same signature. It has to match the signature that's on market. It doesn't have to be the same version, or does it? Trevor knows the answer to this.
Sorry?
For testing in an IAPM market, does it actually have to be the same exact app that's published, or does it just have to match the signature?
It needs to be greater than or equal to.
It needs to be greater than or equal to the version that's on market, and it has to have the same signature, right? So, yeah, for NFL. So you don't have to have the same version, but it has to be the version that's on market, and it has to match. It has to have the same signature. So you do have to sign it with whatever release signature you have once you've actually published it on market. Of course, the other way to do it is you can just whitelist your No, you can't. Sorry, that's
Mine
LVL.
has to be greater. The version that's on market has to have billing enabled, and then you have to be greater than equal.
Yeah, the version that's on market has to have billing enabled, and you have to be greater than that. Okay, so hopefully that will help you test those flows out, and we see if we can figure that problem out. But that usually is what causes that problem of it not managing the stack correctly.
All right. Well, we've got 15 minutes left in our show. So thanks, Pedro, for joining us. We love Chain Reaction. Hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, and we need to bring in our senior India correspondent. I think that's
Yes,
the title.
let's bring in the senior India correspondent. And while he's coming in, could you grab me a Mikkeller Sour Belgian Ale?
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is now this is something I picked up at the local Whole Foods today as I was on my way to work.
Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
Belgian Wild Ale.
Now, Mikkeller is just a really interesting brewery because it seems like all they do is experimental beers. So these are the same people that did like the single hop beer.
Right. Oh, brilliant.
They did the Beer Lovers Breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
which, apparently if you're a very wealthy beer lover, because it's like $15 a bottle.
Yes.
Well,
Well, that's if that's all that you're having for breakfast, though. I mean, that's really not that bad. I mean,
really? You spent $15 on breakfast? Really?
on a special
Just-
occasion, yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's it's like if I'm staying
Yeah,
at
all right.
a nice
Yeah, sure.
hotel and it's brunch, I'll do that. So if you think of it as like in those terms, it's really not that bad.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So we need to call in our senior India correspondent. I'm not
Yes,
sure. We need to
because our next game is Neil Raja. And it's been explained to us that is not a Raja named Neil. It
No.
is actually, apparently that is Indian for blue.
Yes. Presumably Hindi. This uses Swarm. So do we want to go fetch him? Actually, Trevor, would you mind just grabbing him from next door? Awesome. So
Yep.
so we're going to be without technical actual assistance for a little while. We should have done
See,
this while we were.
That's
discussing our
exactly why I
beers.
was discussing beers. but-
Exactly. We're
yeah.
hoping that, but we're actually not
There
that
we go.
sophisticated. There we are. Our senior India correspondent.
It's just our hint system around here takes a little longer.
Yeah, actually. So
All
come,
right,
so
yeah, come on in.
Come around and join us. Actually, I'll kneel here. You can sit down, and because you're going to get on this.
Been waiting so long. for
I'm
this.
the
I know,
green
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So welcome to Anirudh, who's here visiting from Hyderabad, and it's great to have him here in the office. He's been doing a lot of great work. He actually writes code, which is nice. And we're going to put Neil Raja in front of him.
Screw around like we did.
Yeah. So, but you might recognize him from Stack Overflow or from other events that have gone on. And anyways, it's been great having
Or
him
his
here.
excellent series of action movies.
That's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're gonna show off Neil Raja here and take it away.
Yeah. So what I really like about this game is it's got a touch of reality to it because it happens in India all the time. Like three-headed monster steal your girlfriend.
Right.
This is why I don't travel.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, let's see.
That's way more exciting than I thought Hyderabad actually was. So.
Okay, so we're going through the game menu, and there's a little story and plot.
Yeah, we can actually switch over to the tablet now if you'd like to kind of show our users what Anirudh is looking at, and so we get a
that's
little bit of story.
Three-headed monster.
And by the way, it does look actually kind of that pixelated in real life too. So in this case, you're not
Oh yeah,
actually.
yeah. It's like a total Neo Geo game. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start off with level 1, and this is a runner game. It's not one of the ones where you run and just immediately die. I mean, you have to collect stuff. In this case, those gems, and eventually you have to avoid stuff as well. And actually, the game has a really great frame rate. So what you're seeing, what looks like you're getting about 2 frames a second in the Hangout, actually the game really hits 60 frames a second on this tablet.
And I wish that we didn't have to deal with the man in the guise of YouTube and their copyright lawyers, because actually this game has a
Killer.
triumphant soundtrack.
Killer
It's-
mod player soundtrack.
I think, yeah. I mean, it sounds like a Sid Chip soundtrack.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
awesome.
exactly. I was convinced it was some sort of tracker, but it's way cool.
It's really trippy music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all really enjoy it. This is
So,
definitely kind of a nice retro, but it's a well done retro style game, which is
Well,
always cool.
and the author actually mentions how much he loves Prince of Persia, and yeah, if you go back to all those old, what was it, Jordan Mechner games? I mean, like,
games, yeah.
So this reminds me of Prince of Persia. It reminds me of Karateka. It reminds me of all these games in the late '80s, early '90s that had sort of a similar graphical style and a similar feel to it, but they've updated it with this very simple control scheme, endless runner thing that is actually a relatively recent innovation comparatively. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it could use a little more animation. That's my only.
Yeah, and this is another game I think that experienced some of the classic problems. So one of the things we actually ran into a few problems with this game. I can't remember what they were now. I should have written them down.
Well, they did have music over lock.
They did have music over lock. And the back key here. This is a really interesting case. So what do you do? So you hit the so the big problem with this game is actually, I'll tell you that the real problem with music over lock. So it doesn't actually have music over lock. What actually happens is whenever the game is paused, it stops the music from playing. And then when you get back into the game immediately starts up without any music. So
Gotcha.
so it's kind of bad in multiple ways. It's bad, first of all, because I've just hit the home screen, I'm come back, and I'm immediately dead because the game is continuing to play. The second thing is if you pause the game and unpause it, the music comes back. So if the game simply paused gameplay when it was no longer visible, it would actually solve all these problems, and it would almost be correct. So that's one thing. The second thing is how it uses the back key. It's kind of interesting. So press the back key a couple times here to kind of show what happens here. So we're switching over to our tablet, and you see, so you get up that. Now that to me does not look like a dialogue. So this is one of those weird cases in which
those three buttons that just
the buttons that appear, and you hit the back key again, you see what happens. So it just causes the game to go into pause mode. This is kind of I would say unintuitive. Like as a general rule, we like it if the back key doesn't just immediately quit, and this is certainly better than it just immediately quit and the user losing progress. But on the other hand, it's really confusing to see how do I quit the game from here. And because it doesn't feel like a dialogue, it definitely is a little confusing. So my feeling is that either it should be a dialogue, or in this case, this actually would be a reasonable place for hitting the back key, giving the opportunity to go to the menu. The best way to do this, of course, would be to actually have the menu have a continue option and not not actually do any pausing at all. Like it's in general, we like things to behave exactly like Android. On the other hand, because sometimes it can take a long time to generate and start levels, it may make sense to have a pop-up. So this is where we actually have an exception to the rule of the usual Android flow. Once you get back into the menus, everything starts working fine again. So that would be my only suggestion on this, is it'd be better if it was a little bit clear that their game was paused, if it popped something up, if it showed up the background grayed out, it was really, really obvious that, yes, my game is paused, and if it brought that same pause game up when we went into the home screen, it would look a lot better, be a lot better experience. Anything else you want to say about this game?
No, I think you covered the points well, what the developer needs to improve in the game. But I think it's a very fun game, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I thought that was definitely the way I feel. Well, I'm glad. I wanted to make sure that that we also were being sensitive in terms of if this game was offensive or something like that, and I wouldn't know. So I wanted to make sure that we brought you in here.
We weren't sure if three-headed monster was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Or like Rajas with Swedish names that threw us.
The blue skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
All the way from Hyderabad.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our senior indie
Take
correspondent.
All right, now get back to India.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually, we didn't even offer you a beer. Would you like one? You're more than welcome to have one from the keg. All right, let's
try one.
absolutely from the kegerator. All right, so Ian's going to start off with the next one while I get Andrew a beer. Would you like to get the Sculpin or the Paul's beer? All right, Paul's beer it is.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just sit here and, do my job and
Exactly,
stuff.
do your job.
Okay, yeah.
Whoa.
I work for a
We
living,
finished
all right.
Paul's beer.
What? Paul's beer is gone?
Paul's beer's gone. All right.
He'll be so happy.
You will actually. You're like, I have to cut it back to 7. All right, so you're going to have to be stuck with the sculpin. All right.
Well, it is an India Pale Ale.
It is an India Pale Ale. And I'm going to have an overflow cup here because it's going to overflow. I can guarantee you. Whoa.
Beer.
These are both almost gone. Or are we just out of Are we out of... I've got a feeling there's something else going on here. Well, it isn't bad. Now you've got a really interesting taste.
We're going to have some disappointed coworkers, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know. They're all planning to
So-
go in here and finish this off, so...
Turns out that, all right, see you later, man.
Sorry.
All right, so our next game is Word Weasel. Now, Word Weasel has been sitting on our schedule just right under the top
Oh,
five.
it's not on my
Oh, it's not on
yours.
here?
It's
Okay,
on yours, sorry.
Yeah, I had to
that's the only one I
reboot
didn't-
mine. I'm not quite sure
Oh.
why.
Well, we can look at the next one. I have
Okay.
we can pull up, so the one I have the next one, which is the one where you squish insects.
Pestilence. Yeah.
Pestilence, yeah.
Oh, that's another one, right? I mean, these two games have literally been sitting at
Yeah.
number 6 and 7 for the last 4 weeks.
So let's plug mine in. We'll take a look at it.
All right.
So now, I actually did not do what I would call a thorough test on Pestilence. I did actually play it, and the game is freaking hard. Let me just say this. So here's what it looks like on a tablet. Now, first of all, you notice that it doesn't actually size to the full screen, which makes me really sad, because it would be much cooler. It's also really freaking hard to control this ball, the accelerometer. This is level 2.
Nice.
Can we switch to the tablet?
By the way, someone's outside our window.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, but they're not holding up like signs or anything.
Oh, okay. They're not picking
Dan and Ian in the morning.
That's right. Oh, man, I just missed it. So, first of all, this game is, as I said, it's freaking hard. Partially because you have to get the ball up to a high enough velocity to actually squash the bugs. It's not just a question of running over the bugs. You have to run over the bugs at high speed, and it's pretty fast at that high speed is.
Yeah.
And the maze is mostly gets in your way of squashing the bugs. Now, that's not to say the game isn't fun. I mean, there are there are people who do just like frustration. But that was my feeling, is that the game immediately was just ludicrously hard. And that might possibly be because it's not designed around tablets or something. But it was just like. And the game is really polished. Like, it's actually really beautifully done.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I really wanted to fill the screen. And
Yeah, I wonder why they don't fill the screen. That's weird.
I don't know. I really am curious as to what they were thinking. But yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. And it's if you want a really frustrating, or if you just like really hard games, it's definitely something. Oh, can I make it to the yes? Aha! Double cleared with 1 star. But in any case, yeah, elation. So yeah, it's definitely challenging. I think that I would probably tweak it a little bit so that it didn't require such an enormous amount of velocity to squash the bugs, because. Or maybe have levels like where you need to have like an easy level where you can squash the bugs by pretty much rolling the ball over it, versus a harder level where you can squash the bug where it actually takes some significant velocity to do that. Something like
I think
that.
and this is something that the review committee has been coming back to us about. As to get on the featured list means we think that your game is going to be interesting to a really broad cross-section of users. So we don't, Android in general, Google Play in general, does not usually feature games that are like really niche titles. It usually doesn't feature games that, that just have a tiny audience or only cover a few devices.
Yeah. Also
and we also don't generally feature games that are just way too hard, unless you have some sort of way to to ratchet down the difficulty.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, there's a lot of other things too. I mean, obviously, if it's got some sort of content that is going to be really, really edgy, it may fit our content policy. Obviously, that's not something we're going to want every little kid who opens up the store to see. So, there are definitely things. I think squashing bugs does not fall into that category. I think in this game, really, it is just that the game immediately gets nigh impossible, and so it'd be great to see a little bit more scalable difficulty on it. You know, as a general rule. But that being said, the game is fun. The game design is very, very good. So I'd love to see a little bit of ramp on it. So I think is that enough to say about this, or?
I think we're good.
Okay.
It's a fun game. I think if we had multiple difficulty levels, I think we'd totally want it.
Mm-hmm. And also taking more of the screen would be nice.
That's true.
Because the team might just reject it for that reason.
Possible. Okay, so the next game is Word Weasel.
I love the tip floss twice a day, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Avoid parking tickets by leaving your wipers. Does that work?
No, I'm totally curious about that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
I've
I've learned something from this game already.
Okay. Trevor points out that this looks a lot more like a badger than a weasel, or possibly even a skunk.
It looks like a honey badger to me, actually.
But I'll tell you what is definitely weaselly about this is their music. You can't hear it at home, but this is the most bombastic orchestral minor key version of Pop Goes the Weasel that we have ever heard. No, it's dun 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 dun. Is Pop Goes the Weasel copyrighted?
I don't know, but I think we're allowed to play. I think we're actually allowed to sing at least a couple
4
of
seconds.
bars. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
All right, so this is kind of cool because it's a social game. I'm not sure actually who I'm playing with, but whatever.
Is that really social?
Well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Join game in progress, and then it's sort of a Boggle, is that the name of the game?
Yeah.
So I can just make words with this.
This isn't really Boggle. This is something else, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it is Boggle. I don't know. It's got fewer. Boggle's 4x4, I think. So.
Right.
Boggle is a trademark of Parker Brothers Incorporated.
Yeah.
Or Hasbro, maybe. I don't know. Something like
Look,
that.
man, I gotta.
Ooh, nice one.
Letter
Nice.
game.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, you can do. You don't have. They don't have to be in order. That makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Jot. Only a letter can only appear once, right? So.
Exactly.
Mhm. Ooh.
Right. So as I go through this, I'm getting all these. This is not a very good score, though.
Yeah. It's the pressure of the camera. Nice, though. Digit is good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, my score was 32. Best score was 80. 13 players playing. Ranked 7th. That's cool.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I like it. This is a fun game. So.
Yeah, and look at all these other games that.
Although the words we could have done.
Right.
I didn't even know that
what?
Jaka was a word.
Yeah. So apparently.
Gajo is a word.
Apparently, we are all over the map in terms of language here.
Oidia?
Because look, we got Jiao. That's a Chinese word. Oidia. I don't know what that is.
Agouti? I am totally confused as to what this game is now.
All right, so that's maybe our issue with this game is that we don't know what language it's using, and if it permits all languages, then
wow, that's interesting.
I don't know. How do we feel about that?
I don't know. I think that's.
I'm gonna get beat by some polyglot.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely does give an advantage knowing lots of language, but maybe that's the idea. Or maybe we're supposed to learn lots of languages, or maybe a lot of these are nonsense words. I can't really tell.
I don't think that it should allow racial slurs either.
Good point.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway.
So I think that's actually all we're going to review for today. I think that's.
So what did we want to say about Word Weasel? Well, it's not the very best tablet experience we've ever seen, but it's not bad. It's a little disappointing that it requires portrait mode on tablets.
Yeah,
that's always a little bit awkward. It'd be nice to just adjust to whichever mode the user's more comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that you're playing against other people and that you're have to think fast in a certain amount of time, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's fun. I think actually these kinds of sort of casual multiplayer titles are pretty cool. There's a one of the ones I recently played was Defender 2, and it has a very similar thing where you're playing against the ghost of someone else at the same time, and it's kind of a nice way to add kind of a sort of random challenge into the game without actually.
I can't even tell you how many games of Project Gotham Racing 2 I played against
Ghost.
That was
Ghost. Yeah,
I think that was the first one that we did on Xbox with Ghosts, and that was just it was so crazy because you'd see these things where you had no idea how to do the track, and then you'd follow somebody's. You still wouldn't have any idea.
How did they just do that?
I know,
we're driving the same car, and they just managed. Okay, so clearly I just sucked, but
yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, I think what we've discovered over the last 10 years is that people love to play each other, but the asynchronous mode, where you're just challenging other people is a lot more interesting sometimes.
Yeah, it's a great way of adding a social dynamic without actually adding all of the super challenges, especially in mobile, where you've got really bad latency problems of actually directly challenging someone. That's often very difficult unless you're on a local network. But here you can challenge someone even in a game that's very twitchy. And have it still be a really good experience. So
I think what we're saying is what we'd love to see in WordWeasel is the ability to add your friends from a social network, let's say Google+. Is that a good one? I think that's what comes to mind anyway.
That's the only social network I know.
Any social network, to be able to add friends and maybe play against them asynchronously. To say, okay, I got 10 words out of this one, you got 20 words out of that.
Yeah, and actually, even what would be really awesome is it let you know how many words and what their score was, and you're like, they're clearly much smarter than I am. So yeah, that would be fun.
Does that ever happen to you?
Yes. Yeah. So sometimes in embarrassing situations, like, hey, you're only 5, you should know more words than I do, but.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
I apologize on behalf of my children.
It's possible that I've clearly been having just too much Humboldt Brown. Who knows?
See, what we do at the end of the show is we measure how much beer is in each person's bottle, and that's who talked the most. Yeah.
So you're saying that I always lose or always win? Something like that.
It depends on how you define winning. Okay. Well, I think that's our show for today. These are some great games.
I think we actually sucked less today.
Well, we did have that one technical issue.
We did. That's true. But I still don't know what happened with Kendroid.
Now, the real question is, did we suck less than the apps guys? Because they got over 100 simultaneous viewers today. Most of our viewership comes from the YouTube videos, but you guys that join us online live, we love you. We count you, and we're in a constant race with the apps guys to see who can get more. So tell your friends.
Yeah,
sign on.
And definitely, how did we do on the moderator votes this week? I actually did not look, and.
So moderator only keeps a running total, but we broke 2,100 this week for vote or for users. I think. And,
okay,
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so keep those moderator votes coming in. I think it's awesome. There's certainly titles we never would have seen and otherwise, and we want to make sure that one of the great things about this show is that we can actually show off some really, really cool games you might not have otherwise found on Google Play.
And these games do end up, when a game's really good quality, this is one of the channels that the Play team uses to find features titles. So even just last week, right, we had Shogun?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it can actually happen, and this is a great channel for that. I don't think they actually watch the show, but we give them a summary afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is good because sometimes it's better not to let them know how much drinking actually does go on in the context of the show. So,
but they read my expense reports. They must guess.
That's true. So, in any case, thank you once again for joining us, and hope you have a great rest of your April 20th, 2012.
Happy 420. See you later.